Alright, this video will demonstrate how to bootstrap the LGP-21 emulator written by Paul Kimpel. I've got the emulator here on the left-hand side of the screen and the instructions on the right-hand side. The computer's powered up right now but hasn't been started, and the first thing we need to do is load the program input routine off the PIR tape. So I'm going to hit this little icon over here to choose Files and choose Program Input Routine version 2 FlexoWriter. We're going to grab that, and that gets loaded into the reader. It's in the tape reader, but this computer won't just boot up and run. We have to go through a bit of a song and dance to get the first few instructions into memory. So on this mode switch here, we're going to switch it to manual input. And then we're going to hit the Start Read switch on the FlexoWriter. As it begins to load data, it prints out what's on the tape, and we see that data shifting through the accumulator. The fact that it's shifting this text through the accumulator is pretty meaningless. It just gets thrown out as other values get loaded in. But at this point, this value has loaded into the accumulator, and we have a conditional stop bit. So this is the instruction we want to run, and the next word on the tape is the data. So from here we hit fill clear, which copies that value from the accumulator to the instruction register. Then we're going to hit start read again, and it loads a value into the accumulator. So what we want to do now is execute this instruction on this data. So we're going to back to this mode switch, put it into one operation mode, and hit the execute button. All good. We're going to put it back into manual input and start read again. Fill clear again. Start read again. One operation, execute. Manual input. Start read, fill clear, start read, one operation, execute, manual input, start read, fill clear, start read, one operation, execute. Having done all this, we've loaded these three values into memory. We've prepared it with a jump instruction and executed that to jump to one of those instructions. At this point, we can move the mode switch all the way down into the normal position and hit the start button. Once I hit the start button, it will begin loading PIR off of the tape. All right, at this point, PIR has loaded and the machine has halted. It's ready to load a program off of tape. So I'm going to go back to this icon here, unload the PIR tape, and then choose a different file. This will be my actual program file. I think I will run this logistic equation program. You can pick anything you want, but I've loaded that tape. Having loaded that tape, I can hit the start button again to restart the PIR program. And now it's on an input instruction, waiting to start seeing data from the FlexoWriter, and I can hit this start read button again. It'll start loading the data off that tape. All right, the program's loaded. At the end of loading the program, there's this final instruction you see in the corner that would jump to execution of the program. PIR only follows that if you have the BS32 button, BS32 switch turned on. If BS32 is off, PIR will halt once it's loaded your program, but you can just start your program by hitting the start button. So I'll hit the start button, and execution begins. All right, I think you've all got the point there. Good stuff.